Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomabhat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Sri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunakto Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Krishna Gharine Namo Vedanta Vedyaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshine Krishna Tvaipayanam Vyasam Sarvalokahite Ratam Vedabja Bhaskaram Vande Samadhi Nilayam Munim Sahasramukte Purushottamasya Sahasranetrananapadhabaho Sahasranamnam Stavanam Prashastam Niruchyate Janma Jaradishantyai. Namaste once again to all of you.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste. So we are seeing the meanings of, I think, the 14th shloka. Yeshame sarva dharmana Dharmo adhikatamo matah yad bhaktya pundari kaksham stavairat chenarah sada. So in the last class we saw the meanings of this shloka from a Dvaita perspective, from the standpoint of Dvaita. But Adi Shankara, given his strong belief that the entire Vedas talk only about Advaita, he, after interpreting, giving the meanings from a Dvaitam perspective, he brings Advaitam into this shloka. How, from an Advaitam standpoint, we can understand this shloka. He brings that, and that was where I think I stopped in the last class, and that I will explain this in the next class. So now, the most crucial word in this shloka is Stavaihi and Archet. So that is why, when we are singing that Stavaihi Visa Guna Sankirtanam Lakshanai, Guna Sankirtana Lakshanaihi, right? So singing the glories of Ishvara, assuming that I am a Jiva and there is an Ishvara, I sing the glories of that Ishvara. I do Archana, Puja and all to that Ishvara. And by doing that, what will happen? What is that? Janma samsara bandhana muchyate. So that is what will happen. So we have seen that by doing this from a Advaitam, as from a Dvaitam point of view, this is a very important sadhana for gaining sufficient Chitta Shuddhi. So it becomes a part of Karma Yoga. So when we are talking about all these Archanam, doing Puja and all, from a Dvaitam perspective, we are focusing on Karma Yoga. And Karma Yoga means what? Ishwararpana Buddhi and Ishwara Prasada Bhava. That is Karma Yoga. Now from an Advaitam point of view, Adi Shankara uses the same thing, Stavaihi, right? But the meaning of that word Stavaihi is where he says, what is that? Where should we find the meaning of that word? Here he says Sankirtanam does not mean singing the glories. He takes a different meaning of Sankirtanam, which he expounds in Dakshinamurti Stotra. Those of you who know Dakshinamurti Stotram, can just recall these verses. Sarvatmiti sputi kritamidam yasmadamusmin sthave tenasya sravanat tadattamananat dhyanacha sankirtanat. This is what he is actually meaning by the word Sankirtanam and Stavaihi from an Advaita point of view, from a Dakshinamurti Stotram, where he has expounded this meaning in Dakshinamurti Stotram. So here, Yasmad Amusmin Stave refers to the chanting of the Stotra. And earlier we have seen chanting means, reciting the Stotra. But what is here meant by Stotram is Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasa. So Tenasya Sravanatta Datta Manana Dhyanacha Sankirtana. So when he's saying Sankirtana, the meaning we should not take that singing the glories. Sankirtana means learning or following the sadhanas or doing the sadhana of Sravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam, and then teaching others also. That is Sankirtana. So Sravanat mean was gaining the knowledge from a qualified guru in a systematic manner for a continuous period of time, that it is the one and only non-dual Paramatma who pervades this entire universe, who inheres as the Atma in all living beings. This knowledge, which is available in the Upanishads and in Bhagavad Gita and all, obtaining this knowledge, gaining this knowledge with full understanding is what is Shravana. Then Mananat. Mananat means what? This knowledge which we get through Shravanam is bound to be a knowledge which is which contains a lot of doubts, in the sense that we have a lot of doubts about that knowledge. Because if it is the one and the same Atma which is available in all living beings, why all living beings are looking different? Even within the same species, people are different. You are different than I am different than you. If it is the one and the same Atma, why this difference is there? All the lot of questions will come. And not only that, because of our upbringing, because of our past, knowledge which we have been gathering right from childhood, we are exposed to other philosophies also, like Dvaitam, Visishta, Dvaitam and all. And when we hear that, sometimes that sounds more convincing than Advaita. Where moksha means going to Vaikuntha or Kailasa and serve the Lord Ishvara, who is an entity sitting somewhere. And he is always up. Whenever we say God, we never look down. We always look up, God. Up. There is some place. That's what we refer to, and that is what all other philosophies talk about, including all other religions also. Forget the philosophies within our religion itself. It is only Advaitam says that there is no such thing as Vaikuntham and all that. Even if it is there, that is irrelevant. That is not moksha. Moksha is liberation here and now in this life itself. That is moksha. And that moksha you can get only through that knowledge. And that knowledge you can get only through Shravanam. And that Shravanam, at the end of that process, you will still be left with a lot of doubts, lot of questions. So Vedanta says that the next sadhana you should do is mananam. Mananam means critically analyze whatever you have learned in Shravanam, whatever Upanishad says, challenge that. Both from the point of view of what other philosophies are saying, and also from the point of view of logic and reasoning, which is what appeals to our intellect. Challenge everything that the Upanishads say. That is the process of manana, critical analysis. And then you arrive at a doubtless knowledge, fully convinced that what the Upanishad says is the only truth. What everyone says is only half truth. Part of it may be true, but other part is their own imagination. That is not the teaching of the Upanishad. Once you come, and for that we have got Adi Shankara's commentaries, Brahma Sutra, all that is there for doing this Marana. You can gain that doubtless knowledge. Because the knowledge that we get after Shravanam is always having two obstacles. One is doubts, and another is our own practical experience born out of our past orientation. Orientation not only in this Janma, but past so many Janmas. We have always considered ourselves to be Aham Brahmasmi Na. Aham is different, Brahman is different. Aham is different, Ishvara is different. I am a tiny little limited Jiva. Ishvara is Sarva Sarvagya, Sarvavyapi, Sarva Shaktiman is Ishvara. How can I be Ishvara? This is our orientation. And then suddenly, the Upanishads, Rishis and all come with Tattvamasi, Prajnanam Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi, all that they start teaching. So the past orientation will act as an obstacle from our absorbing or appreciating the fact of this teaching. So in order to get the complete benefit of this Shravanam, you need to reach a stage where you have not only doubtless knowledge, Nishamshaya Jnanam, but also knowledge which is rid of all these kind of past orientation, past thoughts, past practices. Viparyaya Rahita Jnana. So Vedanta's main aim is to impart that jnanam through the entire Vedanta Prakriya, especially Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam. So that at the end of this process, you gain that Nishamshaya Viparyaya Rahita Jnanam. And once you gain that jnanam, you abide in that knowledge. And that is what Vedanta says is Mukta. Then you become a Mukta Purusha, Jivan Mukta. Moksha is that, liberation is that. Liberation is not going to any Vaikuntha or Kailasa and all that. Liberation, moksha does not involve any travel. If at all you want to equate it to travel, it is an internal travel, not an external travel. Travel within yourself. From an extrovert, you convert yourself to be an introvert. From an outward journey, you convert that into an internal journey. A journey of contemplation, thinking, gaining knowledge, analyzing the knowledge, and getting rid of all this past orientation, hard-coded thinking. All these things you get rid of. That is this Shravanam Maranam. Nididhyasanam is a sadhana which is meant to get rid of the past orientation. So this is what is from a Advaita point of view, Adi Shankara interprets this sloka that this Tavaihi And Sankirtana should be understood as Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. That is what he says. Right? To gain this Samshaya Rahita and Viparyaya Rahita Jnanam through Mananam and Nididhyasanam. So, this three is what is referred to here as Sankirtanat. So, first is Stavaihi. Stavaihi means you are yourself learning. And Sankirtanat means teaching to others. This entire process. So, in one way, from Advaita standpoint, what we are now having is Sankirtanam. Okay. Samyak Kirtana is what Sankirtanam. So, gaining that knowledge of Paramatma, internalizing that knowledge, and then teaching that knowledge to others is referred to here as Sankirtana, the entire process. So, in this context, the word Kirtanat means teaching, transferring or passing on this knowledge of Paramatma, and who is no different from any Atma rather, to the next generation. That is what is referred to as the Sankirtana. And it is only through this process of Sravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam one can gain this Sarvatma Bhava. As long as you are in Dvaitam or even Visishta Advaitam, you will continue to appreciate differences in human beings. He is superior, I am inferior, I am superior, he is inferior, I am a Brahmin, this fellow is a Shudra. All these different, when you are differentiating yourself from your own nature, from your own true self, when you are differentiating yourself from from Paramatma or Ishvara, then where is the question of not differentiating between one human and another human? You will certainly continue to do that. And you will never ever reach the Sarvatma Bhava which Bhagavan Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad Gita. You may read Bhagavad Gita 100 times. What is the purpose? Just to tell the world that I am a very great Gita reader? You may memorize 700 slokas of Gita. What is the purpose? Just to show the world and win some certificates and medals and all that all Gita's memorizing is there. I am not saying memorizing Gita is wrong, but whatever we do in our life, we must have a goal, some purpose for doing it. Before starting all this memorizing business, you were something. After doing all the memorizing, you continue to do the same thing. There is no difference in your life. There is no difference in your attitude. There is no difference in your relationships. There is no difference in your behavior with other people. What is the purpose of all this, memorizing Bhagavad Gita and reading Upanishads and all? It should have some purpose. It should serve something valuable. It should upgrade the quality of your life. While giving lectures, we should say, no, everybody's blood is red, so there is no difference between anybody. Does anybody practice that in true sense? Nobody does. We treat the maid in our house totally differently from us. Small example I'm giving. So, this is what is the purpose of this Advaita, to take you towards the Sarvatma Bhava. What you learn, what you teach, you must practice also. That is the important thing. Again, it is not easy. It won't happen overnight. It is a continuous process. Because the strongest obstacle in this spiritual journey from an Advaita perspective is the Viparyaya, our past orientation. You can easily study Upanishads with Bhashyam and all, understand what is being said. Not a problem at all. If you have got a sufficient degree of Chitta Shuddhi, you will understand that very clearly. Then you may still have certain doubts, which can also doubt clearance is an intellectual process. Depending upon the capacity of your intellect, You can study all the other Brahma Sutra, commentaries, everything, you Bhashyam, Tika, Tippani, everything you can study and then get it, Samshaya Rahita Jnanam also. Problem comes to remove this Viparyaya. Strongest to hold on us. Our past way of thinking, our past way of behavior. This is the strongest obstacle. And for that, Nididhyasanam is required. Shravanam and Mananam, you can put a time frame. Okay, in 3 years I am going to do Shravanam, or 5 years I will do Shravanam. Another couple of years I will take for Mananam. So that I get doubtless knowledge. But Nididhyasanam, no time frame can be put. Abiding in the knowledge, doubtless knowledge that you have gained, and converting that into a practical reality in terms of your attitude towards everything else in this world, in this cosmos, takes a long time. Sometimes it may take your whole rest of the life. Just to identify yourself or get rid of this Deha Abhimana itself will take a lot of time. To understand that Aham Brahmasmi, convert that earlier understanding that I am not Brahma, now suddenly understanding has come Aham Brahma. Even this change, it will take a lot of time. Just to disidentify yourself with a name which people have been calling you and you have been writing in all the certificates. Brahman does not have any name, form, nothing. Then to understand that I am an entity which does not have a name and a form. Understanding is internal. Again, to get to that level takes a long time. Past orientation, one very beautiful in management classes, a very nice example is given how difficult it is to get rid of our past habits and past orientation. At the beginning of the class, the instructor, whoever is there, the guru, he will tell everybody, please look at your watches in which hand you are wearing. Because most people wear the watch in the left hand and few people, they wear it on the right hand. So he will ask everybody, please look at your watch in which hand you are wearing the watch. Then he will tell them, now I want you to switch the watch to the other hand. So if you are wearing your watch in the left hand, switch it to the right hand. And if you are wearing the watch in the right hand, you switch it to the left hand. So this everybody will do. All the people who are attending that management seminar or whatever it is, training session, they will do. Then he will conduct 1 hour talk or something like that. After the end of it, he will again ask everybody, please see where is your watch. The watches will be in the original hand where it was, not in the changed hand. This is unconsciously during the course of that talk of 1 hour, everybody would have removed that watch from the right hand and put it on the left hand, or removed it from the left hand and put it on the right hand. Where it was, they are used to wear that watch. And it would have been they would not be even aware that they are doing it. This is the hold of our past habits. Very difficult to get rid of that. That's a very small example, which you can test it in 1 hour. Because the feeling of discomfort when something is out of the usual, our past practice or past habits, so disturbing internally, subconsciously, that it's very difficult for us to get away from it. That is why Nididhyasanam is the most important sadhana. Nididhyasanam is not to gain any fresh knowledge. Nididhyasanam is meant to get rid of this past orientation. That is what Adi Shankara says, that when he says Sankirtanat, you must understand from an Advaita Siddhanta point of view, this Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. Then only you can really get the benefit of this Vedanta teaching, Vedanta knowledge, and then you will become a jnani. You will become fully liberated. That is the purpose of this entire, that's a goal. Paramayanam is that only. Paramayanam is what? Is Paramatma. I am that Paramatma. To understand that without any samshaya and viparyaya is the final ultimate goal in one's human life. That is what Adi Shankara points out. Right. So, just to sum up, by worshipping that Narayana, that Vasudeva, who is available for recognition, Prakashamanam, right, in the lotus-shaped heart, bhaktya, with intense devotion, one can gain all that one desires in one's life. And this in Bhishma's view, is the highest dharma. Dharma, adhikatama mataha, adhikatama dharma, iti me mataha. This is my considered opinion, says Bhishma. So, culmination of such a worship is gaining the knowledge, ahameva param brahma, sarvam brahmamayam. And this, as I said, is the sole purpose of a human birth as per our scriptures. That I am pure consciousness, I am Atma, I am Brahman. And the entire Vishnu Sahasranamam, Adi Shankara, has interpreted and explained from this perspective. Even though Vishnu Sahasranama, on the face of it, looks like, all the slokas, everything from a duality point of view. But it is brilliance of Adi Shankara, who says that actually you should go beyond this duality and then understand the slokas from an Advaita non-duality perspective. And then, after completing the meaning of the sloka and all, he does not seem to be satisfied. Because one thing is said, this is Bhishmacharya's considered opinion. Right? But why Bhishmacharya is having this considered opinion? That question is not answered in Vishnu Sahasranamam. This is my view, he has said. Because Yudhishthira asked him, what is your view? He said, this is my view. This is the highest dharma. Now Shankaracharya adds, he now justifies or gives a reason for Bhishmacharya's views. And that is, he adds this as a footnote in the commentary. Right? And this is how, it's an example how Vichara is done in Vedanta. A Vedanta teacher, he will never, he will not be satisfied by just explaining what is there in the Upanishads. Because when he is teaching, the teacher, the guru is aware that all the students who are listening, many questions may occur in many students' mind. But some students may ask those questions. Some students may be reluctant to ask those questions because they may feel that, oh, it's a silly question. They themselves would have raised the question in their mind, put a label that this is a silly question, and they will not ask it. But if your question is not answered, your doubts linger on, how can that be a samshaya rahita jnanam? So what the gurus do normally is, because of their experience, they have been shishyas at one point in time. They know most of the questions which will occur in students' mind. So the guru themselves will raise those questions and answer those questions. This is how vichara or analysis is done in Vedanta. And Adi Shankara is an expert in that. He will raise all questions and answer them. At the end of it, people will not have any more questions. In fact, he will address Vishishta Advaitins. I said, this is your question in your mind, I will tell you the answer for it. They would not have even asked that question. But he will say, from your perspective, from your philosophy, This question can arise when I am saying this Advaitam. This is the answer to that. Similarly, Bauddha Matam. He will answer Bauddha Matam also. That this is, the question will occur to you. This is the answer. Because every philosophy has got different basis for this. None of them are non-dual. Every philosophy talks about duality. Either complete duality or at least qualified duality. So Shankara will answer. Similarly, here also, a question may arise. On what basis is this Bhishmacharya saying that this is the highest dharma? So Shankara raises that question and answers that. Right. So he says, Asya stuti lakshanasya archanasya adhikke kim karanam. Why this stuti and sankirtanam and all is talked about? For that to be the most exalted one, what is the cause? What is the reason? What is the thinking in Bhishma's mind? So what was the thought behind Bhishma saying that worshipping Vasudeva through stuti, archana and all by a human being, Naraha, is the highest of all dharmas? What is the reason for his view? Because in Shastra, if you see, so many things are talked about as paramo dharma. At one place it will say ahimsa paramo dharma. That is the highest. Ahimsa is the highest, most exalted dharma. Then other places it will say ashwamedha yajna etc. are glorified as paramo dharma. Do ashwamedha yaga and all that, they are paramo dharma. So like that, there are so many things being talked about as paramo dharma, paramo dharma. Now, why Bhishma is now, for what reason is Bhishma talking about this, singing the glories or even doing Shravana Manana and Nididhyasanam, even if we take the Advaitic standpoint, why is Bhishma saying this is the highest? So this doubt, and people who are well read in Shastras and all, there will be a very big debate over this. So this has to be answered, this has to be addressed, right? Then Shankara goes on to say that what must have been in Bhishma's mind. One assumption he makes is that when Bhishma said this, that this is the most exalted dharma, he said this towards the end of the Dwapara Yuga. And Bhishma being, very well versed in all Shastras and all, he was aware that what is now going to come is Kali Yuga. And Kali Yuga Lakshanam is very well described in Shastras, especially we can find full explanation or dissertation of Kali Yuga Lakshanam in Bhagavata Purana itself. So Bhishma is aware of all that. So the first assumption is Bhishma actually is talking about this Paramo Dharma from the point of the view of the human life which is going to be in the Kali Yuga. This is the first point which Shankara makes. Okay. Then he goes on to say, when you are talking about this Ashwamedha Yajna and any other kind of ritual, even doing Homa, Yajnas and all, even a Puja, Archana, everything, all that involve at least a third person. Isn't it? I mean, if you are going to conduct a Homa in your house, or some yajna with fire ritual, you require a third person, a priest, to come and assist you. Or even if you know everything yourself, you will at least require somebody to assemble all the materials and all that. You may require somebody to cook some naivedyam, some offering to the god and all. So all rituals of this type, they involve some third person assistance. There are also certain karmas in the Shastras which one has to do along with one's spouse. Without spouse, you cannot do the karma. Shraddha karma, without spouse, you cannot do proper Shraddha karma. In fact, in Shraddha karma, there is one ritual. The ghee which we use to offer as oblation into the fire, that ghee, when it is prepared, the wife of the Yajamana is supposed to come and see that ghee, and then only it can be offered. Just a sight. One of the rituals which is prescribed in the Shastras. So, wife should be there to see the ghee. Otherwise, it cannot be offered. It does not qualify to be offered to the Agni Devata or Pitru Devata through Agni. Pitrus through Agni. It is not that ghee, if the wife does not see, it cannot be offered. So every other karma, if you take, will involve the involve the participation of another person. Similarly, there are so many injunctions are there, right? And they are not samanya dharma. For ahimsa paramo dharma hai, we can still explain it that it is a samanya dharma. So it's okay. Everybody can practice it without any other help. What we are talking about here is Vishesha dharmas, specific dharmas. So all the specific dharmas which are prescribed in the Shastras have got all these kind of lot of injunctions are there. So without a third party, it cannot be performed. And we have seen, these Vishesha dharmas, even some exceptions are there. When we saw Dharma Rahasyam and all that, right? So what Shankara is saying here is that in the case of all other dharmas, the involvement of another person is required. So there is a Purushantara apekshatvam. That's the word he used. Purushantara anya purusha apekshaha. It depends upon another person, another person assisting you in performance of these dharmas. But for doing japa, for doing Vishnu Sahasranamam Parayana, for singing the glories of Ishvara, Paramatma, whose assistance is required? Nobody's assistance is required. You can sit anywhere you want and sing the glories. Because the purpose of every other dharma is also the same. Here you can do it very easily without any problem. There is no Deshantara Apekshatvam, no Purushantara Apekshatvam. Where you have to do, which place you have to do. In the other case of the dharmas and all, Gaya Shraddham can be performed only in Gaya. You have to go all the way to Gaya and catch hold of some priest there and do the Shraddham. Here Vishnu Sahasranamam, nothing is there. You can recite Vishnu Sahasranamam sitting in your house in Saudi Arabia. Nobody is going to question you. Saudi Arabia, for those who don't know, Hindu gods and Hindu things are not allowed there in Saudi. Where strict Islamists are. If they find, in fact, if they find any photo of any Hindu god in your luggage when you land there, they will take it and destroy that photo. That much of fanaticism is there against anything which is non-Islamic. They are more tolerant over Christians, but Hindus, they are totally intolerant. But Vishnu Sahasranamam, you can carry a book. They won't understand. You say this is a textbook, and then you can sit there in your house and chant Vishnu Sahasranamam in Saudi Arabia. You don't need anybody. So there is no Deshantara Apekshatvam, no Purushantara Apekshatvam there. So that is one of the reasons why this is Bhishma considers this to be the most exalted, because it can be done easily by everybody. What is exalted? Everybody should be able to do it without any problem. If something can be done only by a specific person, how can that be exalted? It may be exalted for him, but not for all others, right? So when you do this, this itself will give you all the benefits. This parayana, what the benefits you are thinking? You do putra kameshti yagam to get children. You do Vishnu Sahasranamam Parayanam, he says you will get the same children. So the benefit wise, there is no big difference between that and this. So you can do that. And the other problem is, and which we have seen, whenever we have some special, so for example, there is some special occasion, we are doing some homam and all. I mean, it's very common in our culture that suppose 60th birthday or 80th birthday and all, we do lot of homam and all that, offerings. Prayaschitta karma, Mrityunjaya homam, then nakshatra homam, then we also do, what is that, so many Navagraha puja and all that we do. There, you would have seen that whoever comes to attend that homam, nobody is interested in the homam, they are only interested in chit-chatting. Forget that. Even Vishnu Sahasranamam, suppose you want to have a group chanting. I don't know how many of you do Vishnu Sahasranamam chanting in groups. But if you have been a part of a group sometime, you would have observed, everybody will say, morning 10 o'clock has to assemble, everybody will assemble at 10 o'clock with their books, with a lot of devotion. And then the process will start. How are you? How did you come? Yesterday, did you have power in your area? All that's lot of first 15 minutes be devoted in trying to find out about each other, what was till yesterday the activities. Then maybe some people might not have turned up, then questions about why they have not come. So there will be, people speculations. This may be the reason, this may be the reason why that particular person has not come on that particular day. Then somebody will say it is good they don't come because they come and when they chant it is avaswara. They don't chant along with others. All this will take another about 15-20 minutes. Then finally they will end up chanting Vishnu Sahasranama for about half an hour and go away. This is what happens when other people are involved. But if you are going to sit alone and chant and sing the glories of Ishvara, nothing. You decide, I want to start at 10 o'clock Vishnu Sahasranamam. 10 o'clock sharp it is, you start Vishnu Sahasranamam. Nobody to tell you that or gossip or disturb you. So this is another reason when we have group chanting and all, lot of diversions, distractions could be there. Somebody will be chanting in one speed, some others will be chanting in another speed, and these people will feel though they are going fast, and they will feel, oh, these people are so slow, and then in their mind itself, it will be all involved in these kind of thoughts, rather than thoughts on singing the glories. What are we doing? Vishnu Sahasranamam. Mechanically, the mouth will be chanting. Mind is involved in so many other things. This is what happens when we take the help of other people, or we do it along with other people. Here he says, when you do it alone, nothing is there. This is one parayanam you can do alone. You don't need any group chanting at all. In fact, it is best done when you are alone. That is what is the message, right? Then he says, Dravyantara Anapekshatvam. Whenever we do any puja and all that, we require what? Flowers, dhupam, deepam, karpuram, naivedyam, this, that, and all, so many things. And for all that, we want to make it very beautiful for ourselves. And God is not seeing all these things. But we think God is seeing, and then all very beautiful silver ware for puja. Huh? And then Abharanam Samarpayami, we will have some very beautiful, necklace and put it. Vastram Samarpayami, we have some very beautiful, sari, if it is a Saraswati Devi and all, some Banarasi or Kanchipuram silk sari we will give. What? No God has asked for us for all these things. No Paramatma Ishvara asks. Our own satisfaction we do. All Dravyantara Apekshatvam only is there. But when you sit and do Vishnu Sahasranama, visualize that Vishnu in your mind. Shiro Dharma Pradeshe Sushimani Vilasat Saikatair Moktikana. Like that, visualize that Vishnu's form in your mind. Start chanting, no Dravyam, no Purusham, nothing is required. Just your own mind is the only instrument which you require. And if you want to read, if you can't, if you're not memorized, eyes required. That's all. Nothing else, no dravyam is required. Similarly, any homa and all, you require that cow dung cake and then that steaks and so many things we require. Water, so much of water, fire, all that you ghee, all that you require. Vishnu Sahasranama Parayanam, nothing is required. Simplest thing. Another reason why it is more exalted. Right? So, Dravyantanam Anapekshatvam. You don't need anything. Tulasi, Chandana, Vandanam, nothing, Kungumam, nothing is required for Parayan. Then, as I said, third reason he gives Desha Kaladi Niyama Anapekshatvam. Desha Kaladi. Desha means place. Where it has to be chanted, there is no restriction. As I told you, Gaya Shradam has to be done only in Gaya. If you want to take a dip in the Ganges, you have to go to a place, Haridwar, Rishikesh or somewhere where the Ganges flows. That place you have to go. That is Desha requirement of that. You can't sit in your home and say, I'm taking a Ganges bath. I'm going to take a dip in Ganges. You can't do that. Kala, time. Certain things have to be done only at certain times by which is prescribed in the Shastra. Even a Sandhya Vandana Karma, there are prescribed times for Sandhya Vandana Karma. You should do it only during these times. So, Prata Sandhya, the morning Sandhya Vandanam, you cannot do it 10 o'clock in the morning. Although many people these days do it at 10 o'clock only, that's a different thing. But according to Shastra, it is supposed to be done in Sandhya time, and Sandhya time is what? Just before the sunrise, you are supposed to do the Sandhya Vandana. Similarly, during noon time, when the morning, evening Sandhya is there, then evening time when the Sandhya or the conjunction between the evening and night happens. These three times is what the Shastra prescribes. Vishnu Sahasranamam, no such prescription. Sit any time of the day convenient to you. You can chant Vishnu Sahasranamam. Niyama apekshatvam, he says. Niyama means certain rules. Certain karmas you have to have upavasa of the previous day, then only you can perform that karma on that day. Compulsory, Shastra says that. Some other karmas are there, not previous day upavasa, but that day before performing the karma, you are not supposed to eat anything. Even Ekadashi Vradam, no, many people, their Nirjala Ekadashi they do, they don't even drink water. Niyamam are there for performance of Ekadashi Vradam and all. Vishnu Sahasranama, no niyamam. You can do Vishnu Sahasranama Parayanam without any rules. You can have full food. And afternoon, instead of lying down for half an hour, you say, okay, today let me actually chant Vishnu Sahasranama half an hour. It does not matter, you have had your food. Minimum which is required, if at all there is a niyamam, is take your bath. That too also for sick people and all, exempt. If you are sick and still want to do Vishnu Sahasranama, you are not able to take bath, doesn't matter. Lie down in the bed and chant Vishnu Sahasranama. That's the beauty. I mean, which other dharma gives you so much freedom, so much of what I can say, absence of any rules and regulations. Only Vishnu Sahasranama Parayanam, or even Lalita Sahasranamam Parayanam has got rules. Especially if you have this Saptapadi and all that is that Devi
Devi Mahatmya.
and all. You cannot chant Devi Mahatmya just like that anytime, anywhere and all that. They got rules for Devi Mahatmya. Vishnu Sahasranamam had no rules. That is why Adhikatamo Mataha Paramo Dharma, he says. So Desha Kaladi Niyama Anapakshatvam. Then he gives a fourth reason. Because Shastra says, as I told you, Ahimsa Paramo Dharma. But what happens is when we are performing any other type of karma, we are involved in any other type of dharma, some limited amount of himsa is unavoidable. Right? Simple example. I don't know, during rainy season and all, if you see the flowers, when you buy flowers from the market, they will have these worms in the flowers. And you will end up in destroying the worm because you have taken it away from its natural habitat. That itself is a himsa. Because you want to perform with lot of flowers. And the worm will either, when some people even kill the worm, that's the best part of it. When they see the worm, they will kill it and then do the puja to Paramatma. What is the point? So it starts with himsa. But some people, they won't have any intention, but unintentionally they may be destroying some other or or indulging in himsa. Similarly, when you are doing a homa, yagya and all that, we offer this cow dung cake. They may have small insects which will all get burnt when we offer it in this. We offer the sticks, what we call samid. They may also contain some small insects and all that. When we offer it, they may all get killed. So, any other type of karma, if it is a puja or a home or anything, unknowingly also some himsa can be involved. It's very difficult to do any of these things without himsa. Some himsa or the other will be there. If not anything, when the fire is burning, which we have lit for the home, maybe a fly will fly above that fire and get destroyed. We didn't intend that, but we are the cause for the loss of that one life of a fly. Awesome. So, in any other type of dharma, all these himsa, himsa can be involved even if it's a minor himsa. Chanting Vishnu Sahasranama, if you make sure that you are not chanting it deliberately in order to create himsa for others in your family who may not have a similar belief like you or similar shraddha like you, if you take care of that, sit in a secluded place in your own, maybe before the altar of this thing. Because I have found that in most houses there will be one place where they will keep the gods and all and light the lamp. The person who lights the lamp will visit that place for the purposes of lighting the lamp. No other family member. This is general statement I'm making. Yeah, there are a lot of people who will. No other family member even will bother to go to that place and even do a namaskar. Whole day they will sit before the TV, will play around with this mobile phone, read newspapers, novels, eat, everything they do. They don't have the 30 seconds to go before that altar and pray to God. Hey God, please make my day a nice day. Please save me from any obstacle which can come in my way. They don't have time. Not only a question of time, attitude also. So what I'm trying to say is that when you are doing Vishnu Sahasranama Parayanam, make sure you are sitting in a secluded place and then you do your Parayanam without disturbing anybody. No himsa caused to anybody whatsoever. So that is another reason Adi Shankara says, himsa the anapekshetvam, without causing any himsa to anybody, you can actually chant Vishnu Sahasranama. Because there are karmas like even Ajapayam and all that, it's all there in the Shastras, right? Somayagam, another, where even animal sacrifice is all prescribed. Just imagine, ahimsa paramo dharma, and these people, the Shastra prescribes sacrificing the animal. But there may be reason for that. I mean, for a particular purpose that may be there. We need not go into the merits and demerits of such injunctions in the Shastras and all that. And again, that is not meant for Somayagam and this what is that Vajapayam and all, not done by everybody. As I told you, there are dharma rahasyams. So many dharma rahasyams are there. Certain people are exempt from any kind of these injunctions. So what saying? But there also himsa the apekshatvam is there. There is a need for killing the animal or sacrificing the animal. Vishnu Sahasranamam Parayanam, no need for any sacrifice, right? So like that, he gives all these reasons. No material is involved, no time is involved, no place is involved, no help of others is involved, no himsa is involved. For all these reasons, Bhishmacharya is saying this is the best for common man, for normal people. That is why he tells Yudhishthira, this is the most exalted and paramo dharma. And this can be done by anybody without any restriction. Not necessarily only Brahmin can do or Kshatriya can do, nothing like that. Anybody can do. There is practically nothing, no restriction in doing this. Even a person who is challenged with eyesight, he can't see, he can't read. But normally I have found that people with challenged eyesight have a very good hearing and very good memory power. What you and me will learn in 20 days, they will learn it in 2 days. That's why many of them are very good musicians. Music requires a tremendous amount of memory power and intellect. They can learn it in 2 days. If they learn it, then they don't need to read. They will just recite from memory. So even that, not having eyesight, is not a disqualification for this Vishnu Sahasranam. It can be a disqualification for doing any other type of karmas. Because if you want to offer something to the fire, first of all, you must be careful that your hand doesn't go into the fire. If you don't have sight, it will be very difficult for you to judge every time you are offering an oblation into the fire, whether you are being careful. But Vishnu Sahasranama, nothing like that. You can just go on. Wherever you sit, close your eyes. Even if you have eyes, if you have memorized it, better to close the eyes and then chant. Visualize that Lord. Dhyana shloka you do. Visualize that Lord. Visualize that Lord as Paramatma. He is the totality of everything. Bring the Vishwarupa Darshanam image of Bhagavan Krishna from the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita into your mind. And then sing his glories. All glories you sing in your mind. That is the beauty of that experience of chanting Vishnu Sahasranama. Because of which you can get anything that you want in your life. Even if you don't ask, Paramatma will give you that. It will come your way automatically, even if you have not asked. And this is the experience of many Mahatmas. It is not that for the sake of glorification this is being done. This is the experience of a lot of people who have done this sincerely with commitment and with involvement. Right? So that is why he says this is the highest dharma amongst all the Vishesha dharmas. This Vishnu Sahasranama, that is Tavaihi and Archanam, Archanahi. That is why he says it's the most exalted. But as I said, we must not take that because this is exalted, all other dharmas which has been told in the Shastras are all inferior to that. That does not mean that. Every karma has got certain rules and regulations that needs to be followed. That makes the practice of those karmas restrictive. So by following those restrictions, all other dharmas have to be followed. But Vishnu Sahasranama Parayanam, this Archanam, this singing the glories has no restrictions. So you cannot have any excuse not to do it. Every other karma, you can have an excuse. Isn't it? You are in some Middle East country, there are no priests. You want to perform the Shraddha. Straightforward excuse. No priests are available, I cannot perform the Shraddham for my parents. Excuse is there. Similar excuse you cannot have for Vishnu Sahasranam. You don't need any priest for Vishnu Sahasranam at the Parayana. And having said all this, we can also say, understand it, that this Vishnu Sahasranama Parayanam has, here Adi Shankara brings out all these points like a Supreme Court lawyer arguing before the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, all these points also as glorification of Vishnu Sahasranama. We can take it that way also. These are all the glories of Vishnu Sahasranama itself. What to talk of the glories of Paramatma which the Vishnu Sahasranama contains? The Sahasranama Parayanam itself is so much glorified that this is the Paramo Dharma. Dharma Adhikatama Me Mataha. That's what Bhishmacharya says. So we'll stop here, continue in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste,
Thank you,
Guruji.
Raghuji.
Any questions are
Guruji.
there? Namaste.
Namaste.
Why did you say for
Namaste,
the
Guruji.
Sikh people does not need to take bath? You said no. Why is that reason? Is there anything behind? I don't know. It's a news to me. That's why.
Yeah. It's a news. News because we have not been exposed to this. See, in
Just never knew this so far.
Shastras, two category of people are exempt from any of the injunctions which have to be followed. And they are sick people and children. Okay, so what the Shastras say is that if because of sickness, if you take bath, it may lead to pneumonia and all that, right? So there are ways, to purify yourself with just prokshanam you can do. Just some, water you take, recite, that is, think Bhagavan, or even you say Gange che Yamune cheva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sannidhim Kuru. You invoke all these Punya Tirthas, these rivers, in that small glass of water, and then bhavana is important. Then that sprinkle that water on your, head and body and all. Shastra says that is equivalent to your taking bath. So there are exemptions which Shastra talks about, especially old people and children. Children also up to 5 years. Children does not mean to 18-year-old child. Children means 5 years, up to 5 years. They are exempt. If they want to do all these things, if they don't follow it, they don't understand all these things. Shastra gives exemption for such people. So Vishnu Sahasranam, but if you are sick and you cannot take bath, you cannot perform many karmas, because for those karmas, taking bath is a must. What here is saying here, Vishnu Sahasranam, there is no such thing. Similarly, many other karmas you cannot lie on the bed and do. Bed is supposed to be ashaucha. According to the Shastras, bed is equivalent to a graveyard. Every night we die in that, and then next day morning we are born. It is not pralayam but layam, right? So that is why, in very orthodox families and all, unlike what happens today, wherever they sleep, they will fold the bed in the morning and then keep it in a corner place. Once having taken bath, they will not touch the bed, they will not touch anything. Even for afternoon, they will not use the bed to lie down. They will take one mat or something like that, some small piece of dhari or something. They will spread it on the floor, and half an hour, 1 hour, they may take some rest. They will not touch bed or pillow or anything. Orthodox people, old people. Of course, these days, bed is a permanent graveyard. We have a double bed cot and a spring mattress, everything. When we have nothing else to do, we go and sit in the bed. But that's okay. I mean, as long as you are avoiding using the bed after getting up, doing all your morning chores and all, and afterwards you have finished your puja, everything, then fine, it's okay. It's not a big issue. But the point I want to make is Shastras have got injunctions for so many things. Sorry? Was it a question or some local talk?
Local talk. Somebody was not on mute, Raghuji.
Okay. It's okay. Yeah, now I normally encourage people in the question answer session to unmute as long as everybody doesn't start speaking together.
Sorry, my mistake, I pressed that.
No, that's okay. So any other question is there?
Thank you, Raghuji. Namaskar.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So this
Dhanyavad.
Thank you.
glorify Vishnu Sahasranama. Those who don't chant Vishnu Sahasranama, please remember this Bhajagovindam words of Adi Shankara. Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram. 2 things every day, every human being should do. Vishnu Sahasranama Parayana, and at least some portion of Bhagavad Gita you must read every day, Adi Shankara says. That is your spiritual journey. These are important things to be done every day. Okay. So with that, we will close today and continue on the next Sunday. Okay. Hari Om.
Dhanyavad, Guruji.
Thank you.
Dhanyavad,
Thank you.
Guruji.